So with our lovely Miss S, ready Sadie? I was going to do a little bit of practice on a longer lead. So the benefit of, again, having a long line is that you can allow your babe to sometimes have a little bit more free movement while practicing. So let's say, for example, our lovely Miss S, she was doing some play earlier with the flirt pole. So she's got a good little hefty pant going because we were doing a little bit of playtime. So the benefit of, again, working with a long line, we'll let her go grab a drink so thankfully she can reach it, is that, and I know I'm a little out of camera range because she's drinking for a quick moment, but with our little lady, obviously when we're working on some loose leash walking and practicing some other skills, we'll let her just kind of, she's really enjoying the water dish out here, though she has her own, so this one's even better. So after some play, nice job, cuteness. Sadie, great job. So I was just going to warm up with the long line. So again, the benefit to having a drag line or a training leash, there's a lot of different slogans for these guys. You can, again, do whichever length you feel most comfortable with. I tend to go for about a 12 to 15 footer. This way, my dogs end up actually using it while we're going for walks. And then, so there's a little distraction off in the corner with a few toys that were left out earlier from the other puppies. So right now with Miss S, I could still use this like my regular training leash, work on, for example, honing in on me from the environment, and work a little bit through that loose leash walking. But the benefit of sometimes having this longer leash is it gives your babe the chance to have more of a natural fluid gait. So if, let's say, your babe wants to go forage and go check out the grass or go do some go sniffs, nice job, cuteness, this can give you the option to allow for some of that more normal dog experience, which is, again, your sniffy moments and going out and checking out the environment, while at the same time then working on reorientation to you. So I tend to, again, the 15 to 12 foot is probably what I find very convenient, and comfortable for a lot of folks to use. If you go like 20 and above, I feel like it gets a little bit more awkward because it's a lot more material to deal with. So I find that this is a nice happy length where you can allow for natural dog behavior of going and sniffing or rolling in the grass and doing typical fun things for them. Did one of them fall out? She says she found it. So that way, while your babe is still working on, let's say, loose leash walking at times, you can give them recesses. So that way the walk is not always so challenging where they have to hone in on us the whole entire time. Because remember, it's sort of their walk and our walk. So if you're thinking about, having a heel position, that's fine. But you want to make sure that you're not forgetting about meeting their needs as well. And since our pups see their whole world through their sense of smell, we want to make sure that we're allowing for that decompression or practice in the environment so they're more able, oh my goodness, chewing, they're more able to bounce back from those scenarios or distractions. So right now I was going to warm up a little bit with some find its with a little bit of recall practice. So we'll go right into a little find it. I like to give her the full length. I normally just hold on to the handle if it wouldn't be like a safe environment to let go in. So right here, again, I'm going to send her away with a little find it. And then I go, Sadie, come. Yes, and feed for that lovely response. So you also want to get your puppies kind of comfortable with a drag, lead, or training leash, because for a lot of the puppies, if they're not comfortable with something sort of following them as they're meandering, this can be a little bit of a novel situation where they could be a little sort of overwhelmed, I should say. So we would want to make sure, Sadie, nice job, cuteness, that your babes don't get overwhelmed by novelty when it comes to gear. So if, again, you could also practice letting her just completely drag the line, and you could be warming up with some loose leash walking and work her in and out of the environment. So let's say she gets a little distracted here. I might, wait for her to hone in on her own versus me always cueing her. So if you tend to be a little bit of a micromanager, which I understand we're sometimes just trying to make sure they're being set up for success, the trouble is a lot of times your babes are not able to then rehearse the big boy, big girl skills and sort of try to figure out the puzzle. So right here, she's doing a little find it. She's like, lady, where the heck did that bad boy go? I might then sort of see if I can call her back into my space with the positive interrupter, feed her for some of those lovely moments of checking in, and then continue on our merry way. So again, with the lead just kind of dragging behind, obviously for safety reasons with long leads or training leashes, I highly recommend that if you're going to be using one, Don't get one that's too big because it's going to be a lot more gear that you won't be able to wrangle and it could get tangled. And then you end up just, again, chopping off the end potentially. So if you're ever doing water sports with your babe, so for example, or even just traveling to waterways, you would want to get one that is not nylon or cotton. This is biothane, so it's nylon wrapped in like a rubbery material, so it's a lot more comfortable for your hands. It is waterproof, so when it's dragging through the grass or through some muck like mud, Sadie, you can then wipe it down or hose it off and it cleans up real nice. Though you wouldn't want to use this in, for example, a waterway, be it lake, pond, stream, where the pup could go under the water. So what I mean by that is if your babe was wearing something like this, ready, Sadie? Yes, good girl. If she was wearing something like this, and let's say she goes out into a stream or a river and she's swimming, but this then starts to sink and goes down to the bottom of the waterway, it could get caught on something, and as she's swimming, it's going to pull her under. So the safest ones for practicing out and about in waterways would be leashes that are designed to float, because they're like they're normally used for boats, for the ropes that don't sink. So you can find some, I believe Kate's Bumpers is another organization that offers some really cool water stuff because it's from their Newfie, and they will have training leashes that float. You can also on Amazon or maybe even Chewy, they might also have a bit of some nice different types of longer leads or training leashes. So you'd want to get some that do float when they're on water, or in water, I should say. Regular training leashes that are nylon, cotton, or biothane will sink. So those I don't recommend. So right there, yes. So we sometimes have a few little pupperoos, some of the neighbors that are also here working their skills and taking little breaks. My lovely over here, though, when she first started hearing some of the noises, was getting a little bit flustered. So we went into play. So play for a lot of puppies that are dealing with some over arousal or some difficulty not knowing where to put those big feelings. Play can be a great way to get your puppy to hone in on that versus the thing they can't quite do at the moment. So right now with Miss S, she hears a little bit of the pups, making some noises in their little zones, doing their own thing, taking their breaks, and she did not react, which was beautiful. So remember, neutrality in pups is not really a normal or attainable thing in the sense of like a robot dog. Dogs will always have feelings and concerns and feelings of safety or not. So, but what you are looking for is a puppy that can feel comfortable enough, can feel comfortable enough to be responsive, have a bounce back. Oh my goodness, chewing is optional. And then go from there. So if we're, again, looking for perfection, we'll probably never attain it because perfection's not really realistic for anybody. But to have attainable goals that are maybe reachable for both the pup and for you, much, much better. But then look for progression, not perfection. So with our gorgeous Miss S, right now what I'm mostly looking from her is engagement with me from the environment, being able to bounce back from a sound or distraction and hone back in on me, and to make it where being in this new space with novel distractions to not be so overwhelming or as jarring as she may have thought they were going to be. So right now we're just rocking through Find It's, and then we were working a little bit with some of that lovely name recognition with some recalls. So with recalls, just on that factor right there, is make sure that we're not making recalls the end of fun. So what some folks have done by accident is they call the pup to them and then the game ends. So they go back in the house, they stop playing whatever they're playing, they stop visiting with a dog friend or a human friend, or they leave the outdoor fun environment to go back inside. So if you're finding, she's like, hold on, didn't know if I like that one. You had to chew it one more time. So if you are trying to work on recalls and the moment you call your puppy in from outside is the moment you go back indoors, your dog might go from doing gorgeous recalls to less and less reliable recalls. So you would want to maybe, let's say, call your puppy, let them go, get distracted with the environment, call them to you maybe 2 times, 4 times, 7 times. Maybe on the 7th recall, you go in the house or you finish the game. But if, let's say, for example, your babe is really starting to associate being all done playing outside with coming back inside and you pair it with a recall, you might start to make your recalls the end of fun or the bringer of the bad. You also don't want to pair it with something scary. So if Sadie was scared of nail time or tubby time, I would not call her to me to go do that thing and pair the recall with the thing she's having a hard time with for now. If, let's say, for example, you were working on cooperative care, you would go ahead and just start practicing at a level she feels safe and start working those skills from that end. The other one is, even if she's done the silliest thing ever, like let's say she ran away, she went onto the highway, came back again hours later, you do not want to scold or get agitated with your pup for when they finally come back to you. Because if, let's say, they come to you and you get agitated, your pup is going to think that you're mad at them, not because of what they just did. So even though you might be upset that the dog almost got run over, your babe will think that, oh my gosh, they're just mad at me. Maybe it's not safe to come when called to my person. So remember, we always want to be their safe place, because if we become unpredictable, where one moment we're safe, ready, Sadie, and the next moment we're unsafe, that creates a lot of conflict in the dog, and they may not always feel comfortable coming into our space or working with us. I know, leash wedgie, there we go. So we want to make sure that as we're practicing, we're again working her within her comfort range and attainable goals. Nice, great job, cuteness. So we'll feed right here, beautiful, ready? Nice, good girl. So right now she's doing a real nice job. So we'll give her a little breather from some of these recall and or sort of bouncing from the environment back to me. And we'll try working a few more little skills. Yes, nice job right there. So she heard her neighbor going woo woo. And then I was able to do a little kissy noise, get her attention, and right into a find it. Ready, Sadie? Nice, we'll do another little find it over here, and we'll give her a little break from this exercise.